Ask most professionals how they manage their time, and you will hear one of two answers. Either they describe a system they used briefly and then abandoned, or they describe a state of managed chaos they have normalized as productivity. Neither answer reflects effective time management. And the cost is not just missed deadlines. The cost is strategic drift, the creeping tendency to spend more time on what is urgent than on what is important, until a career's worth of reactive management accumulates into a leadership tenure that moved no needles. The leaders and managers who consistently produce at the highest levels are not working longer hours. They are working with a different relationship to time, one that is deliberate, structured, and ruthlessly protective of the conditions that high-quality thinking requires. This video covers the tools, techniques, and habits that make that possible. The first milestone is the single most important concept in professional time management, the distinction between important and urgent. Dwight Eisenhower articulated it. Stephen Covey popularized it. Virtually every productivity framework in the market builds from it. Urgent tasks demand immediate attention. They are reactive, often externally driven, and feel consequential in the moment. Important tasks contribute to long-term goals, strategy, development, and sustainable outcomes. They are often not urgent, which is why they get perpetually deprioritized by people without a deliberate system. Covey's time management matrix divides all tasks into 4 quadrants based on their urgency and importance. Quadrant 1, urgent and important, is crisis management. It must be done, but living in it is exhausting. Quadrant 2, important but not urgent, is strategic leadership. Planning, development, relationship building, proactive thinking. This is where the highest leverage work happens, and it is almost universally underfunded by time. Quadrant 3, urgent but not important, is other people's agendas masquerading as your priorities. Quadrant 4 is neither. The goal of time management is simple to state and hard to execute. Systematically move time from quadrants 1, 3, and 4 into quadrant 2. Every system, tool, and habit that follows is in service of that shift. The second milestone is time blocking, the practice of scheduling specific time on the calendar for specific types of work, and treating that time with the same commitment accorded to a meeting with a senior executive. Research from Tomas Chamorro-Premuzic and others in organizational psychology confirms that people who schedule their intentions, writing down not just what to do but when to do it, achieve their goals at significantly higher rates than those who rely on task lists alone. Implementation looks like this. Protect 2 to 3 2-hour blocks each week for Quadrant 2 work. Strategic thinking, project leadership, development conversations. These blocks are non-negotiable. They do not get displaced by requests, meetings, or the ambient urgency that pervades organizational life. They are investments in the sustainable version of your performance. The third milestone is input management, gaining control of the information streams and interruptions that colonize professional attention. The average knowledge worker is interrupted every 11 minutes. And research from UC Irvine's Gloria Mark demonstrates that it takes more than 20 minutes to fully return to deep focus after each interruption. The implication is not merely inconvenient. It means that a day of frequent interruptions produces almost no deep work, regardless of hours logged. 3 practices address this. First, batch communication. Designate specific windows for checking and responding to email and messages, rather than monitoring continuously. Second, meeting consolidation. Cluster meetings on specific days or in specific time blocks, preserving other time for focused output. Third, the single daily priority. Identify one task that, if completed, would make the day objectively successful regardless of everything else. This task gets first-hour attention, before the reactive demands of the day establish their momentum. Here is the trap. Many managers believe that responsiveness is a core leadership virtue. The manager who answers emails within minutes, who is always available, who responds to every request with immediate action. This person feels effective. But availability is not productivity. Chronic responsiveness is often the primary obstacle to the strategic, relationship building, and developmental work that defines excellent leadership. Being always available is a form of attention management failure, not a performance standard. leaders who master time management create the most underrated leadership resource: space. Space to think before deciding. Space to develop people rather than just directing them. Space to work on the organization rather than perpetually in it. That space is not found. It is protected. Your go-do. At the start of next week, block 2 hours on your calendar labeled Quadrant 2 Focus. Pick the single most important strategic or development task you have been postponing. Use those 2 hours for nothing but that task. Notice what you had to decline or defer to protect that time. That sacrifice is your data. Time management and delegation are inseparable because effective delegation is what creates the time for leadership that transcends task completion. The delegation video in this series is the perfect complement to this one. Go there next. The concept of attention management deserves specific development here because it represents a more modern and more accurate framing of what is often called time management. You cannot manage time. It advances at its fixed rate regardless of what you do. What you can manage is attention, where it is directed, for how long, and with what quality of focus. This reframing matters because it changes the relevant interventions. The question is not just, how do I spend less time in meetings? But how do I protect the conditions that allow deep, focused, high-quality thinking, and what threatens those conditions? Cal Newport's research on deep work provides a compelling case that cognitively demanding work, the analysis, strategy, writing, and design work that creates most of the distinctive value in knowledge work, can only be performed in extended blocks of distraction-free attention. The professional who structures their day as a series of reactive responses to incoming demands, emails, messages, requests, interruptions, may be fully occupied every hour and producing a small fraction of their potential output. The one who protects regular blocks of distraction-free deep work produces disproportionately more of the work that matters, regardless of total hours worked. The implications for managers specifically are worth examining. Management roles involve a disproportionate share of what Newport calls shallow work: administrative tasks, coordination activities, reactive communication. That is necessary, but cognitively undemanding and easy to fill the entire day with. The manager who does not deliberately carve out time for strategic thinking, meaningful conversations with team members, and complex problem solving will find that shallow work expands to fill all available time, and the high leverage work that only they can do goes undone. Time management, for managers, is fundamentally the art of protecting high leverage work from the legitimate but collectively overwhelming demand of shallow work. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, hit like and subscribe to our channel for more practical insights. And if you're ready to go further, check out the next video on your screen.